Rich Shea is in the virtual house, the co-founder of Major League Eating. Thank you so much for being here, Rich.
Oh, thanks for having us. We're excited to be have you guys part of the show.
Absolutely. Well, you guys originally got involved with the Nathan's hot dog eating contest in the early 90s. I mean, what made you decide that getting involved in a professional eating competition would be a good business venture?
Well, it's funny. So George, my brother and partner, actually did it when it was really just a PR thing, And we didn't create competitive eating. Competitive eating, goes back 30,000 years to the dawn of man, right? And certainly you think of harvest time and the kids with a cherry pie or whatever it is, right? So George and then I joined him and we were doing PR for the Nathan's contest, which was just a once a day a year thing on the 4th, and maybe have a return eater or two, but no real eating celebs. Maybe Ed Crotchy, Mike DeVito, these New Yorkers who could eat 20 hot dogs. And then we just got behind it because we really liked it. So we started doing more and more PR for it and and that just sort of resulted in it getting more and more popular. And then we formed the league. And when we formed the league to archive results and advance the sport safely and sort of give it the framework and trappings of the sport, we were doing that sort of for our own entertainment as well, because we do sort of regular PR and B2B stuff that's kind of boring. I'm not saying my clients are lovely, but can be boring. So it all kind of self-fulfilled, So we'd start getting calls like, "What's the pancake eating record?" Or what's the buffalo wing eating record? We run the buffalo wing place up here in Buffalo. Would you like to come to Buffalo and do a buffalo wing eating contest? And we're like, heck yeah! So we started putting together all these contests, and the league just kind of flourished. And for Nathan's, which I know is our subject this weekend. For Nathan's, we went around the country and would qualify competitors to get to the 4th. So if you're in Las Vegas at a Nathan's in early June, you get all the media there and all the excitement, and then they advance to the 4th. So we do that in like 15 cities, and it all kind of just came together nicely.
Well, so I got to know, I mean, was there a singular event or circumstance that helped vault the Nathan's hot dog eating contest into this mainstream spotlight?
It's always been the eaters. There's a good amount of sort of promotion that we do, but it's the eaters are the ones to be credited. So I mentioned two guys who were early, champs in my day, Ed Crotchy, 2021. This guy, Hirofumi Nakajima. Ed was this big guy from, I think, Maspeth in New York City. And a big 6'3", heavy dude, bullish guy. And this very slight guy from Japan came named Hirofumi Nakajima. So we did a contest between Hirofumi, an off-season contest between Hirofumi and Ed had the bombast to read the daily news while he was eating. It was ridiculous. It was hubris. This little slight guy, Hirofumi, crushed him, came back to Coney Island and beat him again. So that started a rivalry. That was sort of the first real rivalry that I know of. Then we advanced a couple years later, and Kobayashi came in. So Nakajima retired. There was a guy in between from Japan as well, Kazutoyo Arai. And then Takeru Kobayashi came in. The record at the time was 25 and a quarter hot dogs and buns. It was a 12-minute contest. Then it's 10 now. That's the original length. But anyway, Kobayashi ate 50. That really was an amazing moment. Because if he had gotten to 30, everyone would have been equally agog, right? So that was a huge moment for sure. In 2004, ESPN started broadcasting the contest. That was a huge moment. And I think that you and I are here today to talk about another huge moment and advancement in the sport, which is to say we have wagering on the game with Draftkings.
Yeah, I was going to say, how does having Draftkings as an official partner here, solidify the Nathan's contest as this must-watch event?
I think it definitely does. In the past, casinos would put odds and things out for fun because they would just try to piggyback on our PR. But getting some of these, gaming divisions to approve it, it certainly helps, and I know that people will be excited to be able to wager on it, especially this year when there's really nothing else going on, and you can actually not just watch it but engage with it.
So you guys have worked really hard at positioning your competitors as athletes. Why do you think that's so important?
We kind of did that almost defensively. I've always seen them as athletes, but people, especially in the early days, had a parochial attitude about it. And so we kind of just went out of our way to show that the skill that they put on display, and they look at tapes just like any other athlete. They train, they do. It's a mental game. It's governed by a set of rules, but there's a strategy for each eater. They are without a doubt athletes. And if you look at these guys today compared to when you mentioned the 90s, the guys and gals today are very fit for the most part. It's rare to see a big heavy guy. Maybe Badlands Booker, but he's always been like that. kind of cross athletes. They would be trainers, they could be marathon runners and competitive eaters.
So we're used to, the four major league sports and how they run with their seasons, et cetera. I mean, how does a major league eating season work?
So typically it almost kind of mirrors NASCAR. Like we typically, without COVID, would be out on the road. Our first contest this year was with Blue Runner Foods down in New Orleans in early February. And I went to Mardi Gras, but I survived. And then we typically run really hard through March, April, May, June, July, and then through the fall sort of festival season, and then it tails off.
So, I mean, you mentioned, COVID. I mean, how difficult was it planning this year's event given the circumstances of the pandemic?
It was difficult, and there's also, you have to be sensitive to what's going on. So it's not just like the physical and sort of like medical responsibility, CDC guidelines, but you have to be sensitive to what's going on because it's an entertainment product, and but just like from a standpoint of presenting this event, typically there's 40,000 people out on the street corner in Coney Island. You've seen those images. And it's just seas of people, and it's so much color and ballyhoo and fun. To remove that and put it into a closed space, almost a studio environment, maybe like a warehouse environment, it's dispiriting, but it's balanced by the fact that we're doing it, and that's awesome, and it's going to be great. It's going to still be the great competitors, and it's still Joey Chestnut going for his 13th title and Mickey going for his 7th. But there's things, we social distance the guys. They'll be testing. There's, all kinds of little things we have to do. So few people can be in the room that if you move 5 people in, you have to move 5 people out simultaneously. Things like that.
Well, you mentioned 2 people I want to talk about, Joey Chestnut and Mickey Sudo. I mean, I want to know 2 things. Is Joey Chestnut the Michael Jordan of competitive eating? Is this guy the GOAT? And then how impressive is Mickey Sudo's 6-year streak in the women's division?
Mickey's streak is unbelievable. She's going for a personal best. A former champ named Sonia Thomas, who is beloved by all of us. She had a hell of a streak, and she actually ate 45 Nathan's hot dogs and buns. Mickey's convinced she can do it, do better than that. But Mickey very likely will have an edge this year. She's the most accomplished eater on that stage. We'll see if she can do a new world record. To compare Joey Chestnut to Michael Jordan, I think is a slight against Joey Chestnut. Joey is, I called it last year, he's the jote, actually. He is the joeyest of all time.
I love that.
Now, greatest competitor that ever walked the earth. It's always fun to watch Joey eat.
I can't wait. We all can't wait. We're thrilled. Rich, Shea, thank you so much for making time for DraftKings. We can't wait.
Thanks so much, and have a great 4th of July.